Welcome to Eminent Top 10, and here on this channel we talk about some pretty interesting topics. Often we hear some spooky stories on YouTube or even from friends, but even then, these stories are usually fictional. But what is scary is when these stories end up being true. Before we get into the top 5, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Now let's get right into the top 5 scary stories that actually happened. Number 5. Our old house was on a corner with a small deck that wrapped around the back. The dining room had patio doors that led out to the back, and we would have barbecues and such back there. When I was about 14, we only had one desktop computer and one laptop for the family. My brother and I would fight over the desktop, so I would use the laptop to write music. On one particular night, my brother had a friend over and they were downstairs doing whatever, and I was at the dining room table on the laptop. As I was wrapped up in my writing, I didn't pay much attention to my surroundings. I heard a knock on the patio door, which startled me. I looked up, expecting my brother or his friend. Standing at the door and waving was a person wearing a Halloween pig mask. Thinking it was my brother or his friend, I mouthed "good one" and gave the person the finger and they walked away. As soon as they left, I went downstairs to give them crap, and to my surprise, they were both sitting on the couch playing PlayStation. They swore up and down it wasn't either of them, and there was no way one of them would have the time to get downstairs and unmask before getting on the couch. To this day, I have no idea who it was that knocked and waved. Number 4. I came home pretty late one night and my roommate's bedroom was shut. I assumed she was sleeping already, but I saw something out of the corner of my eye in the kitchen. I said her name, but she didn't answer. I didn't think anything of it, so I walked into my room, and before I turned the light on, something whispered, "I'm still here." I turned on the light in my room, but nothing was there, so I turned on every light in my house and knocked on my roommate's door, and eventually opened it. But she wasn't there, so I left her light on too, and slept with all the lights on. When she came back the next morning, I asked her if she was messing with me, and she started crying. She said she left because something was in the house messing with her, and she had to get out. Number 3. I went camping by myself in Maine. One night I woke up at like 3 a.m. Not being able to fall back asleep, I just laid there listening to the woods. Then I heard a faint hello. I was petrified. I felt so vulnerable in the tent. I thought to myself it was just my head playing games. Then I heard it again, and my heart dropped. After that, I just sat there in dead silence until the sun came out. I never figured out who it was, or what it was. Number 2. Years ago in the early 90s, my boyfriend was driving me home and we saw a man lying on the ground in the strangest position, kneeling with his head on the ground and bent at a sharp angle so that he faced the street. It was 2 in the morning and the man was covered in sweat with his eyes open. We pulled over and I hopped out of the car to check on this guy. His eyes were wide open and he seemed like his face wasn't moving at all, but it really felt like he was pleading for help. He didn't respond at all when we called out to him. No blinking, just glassy eyes. I reached out to touch him and he was ice cold. I'm sure he wasn't breathing. This was before cell phones, so I hopped back in the car and we sped back to my house to call 911. 10 minutes later, the police called back to ask for the cross streets again. Apparently they arrived at the corner and there was nothing there. I verified that they had the right spot and they said they would call back if they needed any more information. That was the last I ever heard about it. I checked the newspaper for the next few weeks, but we never found out anything else about that man. Number 1. My sophomore year in college, I ran into this guy that was a year younger than me. Let's call him Mitch. Mitch and I were acquaintances that ran in the same circles. He was a nice guy, smart and quiet. At parties, he would fold these really cool 3D shapes in the corner instead of interacting. He'd always just watch everybody. Anyway, I ran into him at a bus stop and I stopped to say hello. We had an awkward conversation about our majors, and I asked if he had any contact with a mutual friend that went into the army. He said yes, and I said great. Could you pass him my number? He opened his wallet and pulled out a piece of paper. The only thing in there. It had my name, university address, and my phone number. Hello everyone, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you want to see more content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and smash that like button. And I'll see you in the next one.